The next recursive function we're going to go over is the function called isPalindrome. So the whole point of this function is to determine whether or not if a word is a palindrome. So what is a palindrome? A palindrome is a word or sequence of characters that if you were to reverse them, they would be the same. For example, level is a palindrome. The reason why level is palindrome is because if you were to spell it backwards, L-E-V-L-E, it's the same. If you had hello, which backwards equals O-L-L-E-H, it's not spelled the same as it is forward. So different palindromes are things like level, race car, and madam. These can be spelled backwards and still look exactly the same. So how do we check this in code? We're going to start off by passing in the string, passing in the start and end indexes, and then we're going to see if the start and the end are equal to the same character. If they're equal to the same character, then we'll call the function again, but we'll move forward and move back one space in the word. And we'll keep doing that while our start position is less than our end position. If we get to the point where our start position is greater than or equal to our end, then it is a palindrome, so we can return 1. And if we get to any point where our character at start and character at end are not equal to each other, we'll return false, which is 0. So let's write out the prototype of this function. Back in our header file, we're going to create a prototype for isPalindrome. So we'll start off by returning an int, call it isPalindrome. We'll take an char pointer and we'll call it str again. And then we'll take an int start, like the method above, and int end. Let's copy this now. And let's paste it inside of our C file. Let's write the body. First, let's write out our two different base cases. The first one is if start is greater than or equal to end. So we'll write if start is greater than or equal to end. Then we can return 1. And then we'll write if the string at index start is not equal to string at index end. So if they're not equal to each other, it means we don't have a palindrome. We can return 0. So that's false. We'll write a comment here, true. And then comment false here, so we know what the values are equal to. Now what we can do is we can return our isPalindrome. And we're going to pass in our string. And then we'll pass in start plus 1, and then we'll pass in end minus 1. And again, we got to use the return statement here because we do have an integer return type. Unlike the last method we wrote, we have void here, so we don't need to write return. So here, we'll eventually go through all of our characters. So if we were to run through the word level, we'll start by having the whole string. The start would be at 0, and the end would be at our last index here. So when we start off, we'll be looking at L and L. So this would be false. This would also be false. We'll run the method again. Then we'll have E and E. This would be false. This would be false. We'll run it again. And then we have V. So at this point, start and end will equal to index number 2. So 0, 1, 2. Start would be equal to, so this is checking if it's greater or equal to end. So this would be true, and we'll go inside of the if statement and we'll return 1. So then that means we'll return true. If we now look at something like hello, start and end would start at the start and will end at the end. This would be false. It's going to check the start, which is H, and the end, which is O, and these are not equal to each other, so immediately it will kick off and return 0, which is false, so hello is not a palindrome. So let's write out some test cases to make sure that this is correct. So down here, let's just write out 3 strings to test with. Let's do char word 1, and word 1 will equal to madam. Char word 2 is equal to hello. Let's do char word 3 equal to dad. And then the fourth one, we'll do char word 4, and we'll just write A. So A should be palindrome because you can spell it forward and backwards. It's the same thing. So now let's call the recursive function for each one of these. Print F, and we'll write %s equals 2, and then we'll write %d. Let's do semicolon, \n. Let's copy it 4 times for each one of our words. So for the first string, we're going to do word 1 to go over this symbol, and then for the second symbol, we'll call isPalindrome, and we'll pass in word 1. We'll pass in the starting index 4. Then also I just noticed that we need to write char arrays for all of these variables here. We didn't write arrays. Next, we're going to do word 2. We'll call isPalindrome, and then we're going to pass in word 2. And again, we start at index 0, and hello is 5 characters long as well, so we're going to do 5 minus 1, which is 4. And then we're going to do word 3 isPalindrome. We're going to pass in word 3. start at 0, and then the length of this array is 3, so it's going to be the length minus 1. So 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. And then lastly, we're going to have word 4, and is palindrome. Pass in word 4. And then 0 we're going to start at, and then the length of this array is a length of 1. So 1 minus 1 is 0. We're going to end at index 0 as well. So for word number 1, we should be expecting 1, because it is a palindrome. For word number 2, we should be expecting 0. For word number 3, we should be expecting 1 as well. And then for our last word, we should also be expecting 1 for the last value. So let's do Control F5. We have 1, 0, 1, and 1. And we forgot to put our extra spacing here. Let's just add that. Let's run it one more time. Now we can ensure that our recursive function call of is palindrome is working properly.